Hello friends, we're going to add some butterflies to this cute 2x4 box frame. We're going to be using our silk book. I did an oops on a couple of them, so I didn't want them to go to waste. So what I went ahead and did is I just cut off the cover of one of them, and we're going to go ahead and use that with this adorable little butterfly and be able to still reuse this silk paper. I don't want it to go to waste, so we're going to go ahead and use some orange. I very much like kind of the monarchy-like butterflies. So the orange we're using is Papya. And I'm just going to do this one section, and I'm going to kind of do more paint than I actually need to make sure that we fully get everything. And I'm just cleaning off the brush real quick. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use some Bumblebee to add to it as well. I'm going to kind of blotch it around and see what we can do. Kind of making this up as I go. So let's see what we can come up with. Well, that part didn't really actually work, and it ended up making the orange a little bit lighter. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to dry it real quick. And then we're going to add to it and see if we can really get some more yellow on there. So we're just using the quick drying tool. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to try to add some in that yellow. See what we can do. This is definitely going to be something I'm going to need to perfect. So that worked out okay. We're going to go back with a quick drying tool. Get it all nice and dried up. Cover up my containers. That way our paste does not actually dry up. Make sure it's nice and dry. I think we're good to go. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take that cute little butterfly. We're going to do what we call fuzzing. On the silk screen, we're going to go ahead and add a layer of fuzz. That way when we pull off the transfer from the paint that we just painted on that silk paper, it's not going to pull off the orange. It's not going to make it all blotchy. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to be using our Shimmer shadow, which is one of my favorites. And we're going to go ahead and go over the silk screen. And I'm going to do what we call a peel and reveal. Kind of pull back a little bit, make sure that I have it exactly how I want it, and it came out perfect. Now I'm going to show you how to quickly wash this. These transfers are so easy to use. We're just going to take some spray bottle, just regular water, and a Clorox wipe. We're going to clean off all of the top portion of it. Then we're going to go ahead and clean off the bottom portion as well, where the actual sticky part is. Go off one more time, and you want to just make sure that the entire silk screen is actually completely clean. And then what you normally do is you just kind of lay it on the sticky side up and let it air dry. So we're going to go back over our butterfly with the shimmer shadow, and we're going to make sure we get it all nice and dried. Turned out pretty great. I'm pretty excited about it. So now here's the tricky part. We're going to go ahead and we're going to cut out the butterfly. Now it is a lot smaller, so it's a little bit harder to work with, but it's going to be so worth it in the end. I just know it. So we're just going to go around the edges, and I'm going to try to leave as much of like an orange, still see some of the orange around the black as possible, because we're going to go back in a bit, and any exposed orange that really technically shouldn't be there, we're going to fix it up. So it's not going to be too big. I want to make sure that I really get all of the corners of the butterfly. Just continue to cut away. And you want to make sure that you definitely have a really nice sharp pair of scissors. So it's coming along pretty great so far. I'm loving how it's looking. I kind of wish I would have been able to add a little bit more yellow to it. So I'll definitely have to go through and try to master how to mix more colors together when doing a small transfer like this. All in all, I really like the orange that we came up with, so I'm okay with it. So almost done with cutting it around. There we go. So as you can see, there was some orange spots, so we're just going to go ahead and take a chalk marker from Chalk Couture or a Sharpie, whatever you have, and we're basically just going to go and fill in all those orange spots that I was telling you about. I want to make sure that we're super careful when it comes to, see those orange spots? We want to make sure that we are super, super careful when it comes to the little antennas of the butterfly, and then the little parts that are sticking out the bottom, because those are really tiny pieces and they're very fragile. So I want to make sure that we don't end up breaking those off by accident. So I'm just going around all the corners, making sure that it's nice and smooth, that we've covered all those orange pieces. That way it looks more like a realistic butterfly. And there you have it so far. The other thing we want to do is we want to cover the ends, because we're going to make this in more of a 3D. So you're not going to see the back, which is great, because remember, we're reusing an oops I did. So we want to make sure that we cover all the white spots. So kind of at a majority of any angle that you look at the butterfly, you're not going to see that white part on the top. So we're just going around the ends, making sure that we have it all covered. And there you have it. So what we're going to do now is we want to give this a little bit more life. So we're going to bend the wings in. And I held the middle of it and kind of gave it a little bit of a crease, but not too much. Now we're going to take our 2x4 box and we're going to add some branches to it. Literally all I did was go into the yard and grab some branches that fell off of some trees. So this is the fun part where you get to pick and choose which ones you want to use and how you want to have it. So I decided I'm going to have some branches actually sticking out to give it more 3D. So I went ahead and I cut the very end with some wire cutters, because I feel like that works best. And then I cut off the top of it as well. That way it almost looks like it's going through, or it ends right at the box frame. So we're going to dabble on some glue on the top, on the bottom, and around the edges. And I got a little bit too much glue, so I'm just taking an extra piece of paper and spreading that glue around. And I really like to use Gorilla Glue hot glue, because it gives me about a 30-second lead time to be able to work with the hot glue, and it doesn't dry so quickly. So I discovered we need a little bit more stability at the bottom, so I added some more glue on there. And there you have it. How cute is that? I'm so excited how this is coming along. So now we're going to go ahead, before we add on the butterflies, we're going to go ahead and add on some type of a hang, so we can hang it on the wall. You can always lean it up against something as well. But we just want to make sure that we're using something that's gonna hold. So just gonna show you a couple options. If you wanted to get fancy, you can easily take this burlap twine and you can feed some farm beads on it. You can also use some wire. That'll hold more of a shape when you go through and you kind of fasten it to the box frame. I find that sometimes if you continue to twist as you pull the burlap through the farm beads, it works pretty well. Another hack is you can actually take the ends and put clear nail polish, let it dry, and then you can go through and actually it feeds it through the farm beads better. I decided I didn't like how that looked, so I'm just going to go ahead and just use a piece of burlap, tie knots on the end, so that way when I put the glue down, it actually has a little bit more something to hold on to, and it'll stay in place. Once everything dries, I'll go back over the knots, put some more glue on it. That way I know it's really going to hold. So we're going to put some glue on the ends of the knots that we made, hold it in place, and get the other guy going. There you go so far. Isn't that cute? Oh, I love how it's coming along. Now we get to add the butterfly. So I had actually made sure that the butterfly worked perfectly the way we were going to do it. So I did actually go ahead and make one beforehand. So I decided with the way that these branches came out, we're going to use two. So now we're going to just go ahead and place, and I decided I'm going to place one at the bottom and then one on the branch that's actually popping out of the box frame. And I'm just taking off some other glue that I had already used on that butterfly. So we're going to take this butterfly and put it right on the very top. And I'm going to, as it dries, bend the wings a little bit more. That way they pop out and actually hold place once the glue dries. So we're going to put this one on the bottom, hold it in place, bend the wings, and there you have it. What do you guys think? Like it if you love it.